We had the first snow of the year here, so it was a perfect day for the kids to play outside, for us to start a fire inside, to cozy around and read good books together, and to continue on in our learning. Because it was the first snow of the year and we were expecting, I think, 5 or 6 inches, my husband was able to work from home, which was a real treat that he was home today. So he was still working, but just his presence, it was so nice for us to have him here. He started the fire for us this morning, and because the kids woke up to the first snow, I sent them outside to play. I don't want them to miss any of this. This is one of the reasons we homeschool. I want their education to flex around the important things in life, and the first snowfall is a big deal. I think when you have a consistent routine, then there is room for you to have days like this where you can drop everything and enjoy what's happening around you. And then when the kids are tired and wet and cold and they come back in, they can just pick up where you left off. If you're new here, hi, my name is Sherry. I'm a Christian homeschooling mom, married to my high school sweetheart. We've been married for 25 years. Together we have 10 children, ages 20 down to 2. One graduate, one graduating this year, and then another one graduating next year, so very soon we'll have 3 graduates. And then this year we have 7 in school, 2 preschoolers. I love encouraging other homeschool moms here on my channel and also on the blog ourlifehomeschooling.com. Nelson and I took a little bit more time sitting over breakfast and having coffee, and then the older girls were here. So it was nice to just relax and talk with them while the younger kids were outside playing. So because the kids were out in the snow, this changed up our homeschool morning. But like I said, when you have a routine and everyone knows what to expect, you can stop and do something else and come back and pick up where you left off. So we didn't do morning time. The kids were outside playing. I was talking with the girls and Nelson. And then when everyone came in, we watched World Watch. That was basically the only thing we did together in morning time. And then we moved on to chores, and then the kids started on their independent work. We have a pretty simple 4-part homeschool routine. It starts with morning time, and secondly, we do chores. This is a really important part of our homeschool, and something that I've emphasized more and more the longer we've been doing it. Life skills is such a huge part of homeschooling. The third thing we do is for everyone to go their own ways, get their checklists out, and do their independent work. And this covers really most of our homeschool day. This is where the kids are moving at their own pace in the areas that they can do things on their own. But I'm working one-on-one with my youngest child who's reading and writing, learning the basics of math, and then I'm going from child to child as a facilitator, helping them with whatever they need, whether it's new concepts in math or help with understanding something that they're reading. The fourth thing we do, and this is after we take a break for lunch and going outside, is to sit and read together in the afternoon. After the kids came in and put their snow things away, they did their chores and got right to their work. Our son is still working on his animal atlas, where he's cutting out the different animals as he learns about them and putting them on the continents or the countries that they come from. He has really enjoyed this project, and I think when they take initiative like this, this was something he wanted to do. He asked if he could study this year, and so he's really gone with it, which is so fun to see. While I'm working with the kids, I'm also just fitting in little bits of housework where I can, putting in a load of laundry, wiping things down. It really depends on the day. Sometimes kids all need me all morning. And then other times they're at a place in their work where they don't need my help. So it's really hard to predict from day to day how it's going to be. Sometimes my 2-year-old and 4-year-old are off playing and imagining together, and they just do so well that I'm able to really sit with the other kids. Other days, they need me constantly. So it is a balance, but I think once you are consistently having the same schedule and routine every day, kids know what to expect, and it does help it go more smoothly. The rest of our kids have trickled in from outside, so we all stopped together. My husband came back. We all watched World Watch together. This is a staple in our house. Every morning, we love World Watch. A few of our kids had some ideas of things they wanted to try this week. And so, for example, our son, who's 11, asked if he could get up early and start the fire every morning. So on this day, my husband took him aside since he had a little bit extra time in the morning and showed him how to start the fire in the wood stove. And I was a little skeptical the next day when he actually started it on his own, but he did so well. And the book he's reading right now is during the 1700s, so I don't know if what he's reading has inspired him to want to do this for us, but just really love seeing them step up like this. And then 2 of our daughters asked if they could get up early and make special breakfasts. And so this morning we had German pancakes, which were incredible. I was really surprised. These are some of the benefits of having older kids, but also it's something that they can do because we're homeschooling. The schoolwork takes a lot less time than traditional school, and so there's freedom for them to learn how to start the fire every morning in the wood stove, or to learn how to make special dishes. I love that we have this flexibility. Our son is working through this Christmas copywork. These are different selections of scripture, poems, passages from good books. And he's going to be doing this for his copywork all through the month of December. The link for this is below. You can use this copywork. It's free. It's on the blog. It's something I use every year for Christmas, and copywork is a big part of our homeschool. It's not the only curriculum I use to teach writing. Copywork and narration are 2 things that we practice regularly. We also use a grammar textbook. We go with Abeka language lessons. We start that when the kids are in about 4th grade. But it is just such a super tool. We're finishing up the Burgess bird book. This was a study we started last year. I think we have about 5 more chapters that we need to read. And I don't read all of these. I actually pick just ones that are very common, and especially birds that are popular around our area. This week we did the great blue heron and the belted kingfisher. One interesting thing that we learned this week was that when birds molt, I had never heard of this before, but they molt symmetrically, so that when they lose a feather on the right wing, they also lose one on the left. And this was really interesting. The kids picked up right away why this matters, because obviously a bird wouldn't be able to fly straight if they lost more feathers on one side than they did on the other. So symmetrical molting, I had never heard of it before. Very interesting. And it all really points to God's incredible design. I love when they're able to see things like this in detail that just show the fingerprints of his handiwork. I try to fit in these science lessons with these kids about twice a week, 2 or 3 times a week. So we don't do this every day, but we are just reading through the book. The kids are coloring the Peterson Field Guide coloring book, and then we always watch a little video on the bird. And I think this just helps them to visualize it a little bit better, because we don't always see these birds in our area around us. Some of them are really common, like the heron, but we may not necessarily see it. One thing that's always challenging for a mom with lots of kids like we have is just balancing it all. learning how to homeschool multiple children. And for many of the years that we were homeschooling, we always had a toddler and a baby. And so this is the first time in a while that we have a 2-year-old and don't also have a baby. So I do feel a little bit more freedom. These are the nature study bird cards that you can also find on the blog. I'll leave a link in the description if that's something you think you could use in your homeschool. But with having lots of children, I think you get better at it the more you do it, and you learn systems that work for you. A couple things have helped me along the way. One is to know which subjects to do all together. So morning time and read aloud time, these are things that we do all together. But then there are things they have to learn individually. For this, making a checklist has been so helpful. Each of our kids that are old enough to read and write pretty fluently have a checklist. And the important part with this is just taking the time to check their work. And I don't always check in with all of my kids on their checklist in one day. I mean, obviously, that would be ideal, and I aim for that, but of course, that doesn't always happen. I have to remind myself of this, especially with my older kids who are in high school, because they get so independent and they can do so much on their own, but they still need that accountability with mom. It's easy with the younger kids because they're still dependent on me for a lot of things. They still need help, and I'm constantly going from one child to the next, helping them with different problems. But the older kids don't always need me for a lot of the things that they're learning. But just taking the time to sit down with them one-on-one, it doesn't take a lot of time, and have them talk through all that they're learning, ask them questions. Another element that is absolutely crucial in teaching multiple children is that kids have a basic level of respect for my authority as the mom. When I ask them to do something, if they can follow through and do what they're asked to do, when they're asked to do it, this makes everything flow more smoothly. And so I've talked about this many times, but this is the first lesson. This is where it has to start. And once everyone understands that there are expectations from each child, that they're going to be a part of what we're doing, they are going to work and complete everything that they're expected to do, then things can go more smoothly. Learning life skills is a big part of our homeschool, and this is a perk that kind of took me by surprise. I didn't expect this when we started homeschooling. I was thinking all about the academic side of things, but they just have had time in the day to pursue their interests, to learn, for example, how to crochet, how to knit. Our daughter has started a micro bakery here at our house, and our son taught himself to play the guitar. I'm curious to hear from some of you if you had some unexpected perks to homeschooling that took you by surprise, whether it be life skills, and really just to know what life skills your kids have enjoyed learning from being homeschooled. When our kids are younger, my philosophy in education really leans heavily Charlotte Mason, with a little bit of classical learning thrown in there. Of course, Charlotte Mason she had a classical education, and that's kind of what her method is based off of. But as the kids get older, it has really changed for us. I want them to have time to pursue their interests, to learn, to develop different skills and experiences. Our older sons love working on their cars, and they've just had more free time to take things apart, put things back together. They are working now for a contracting company where they're learning the trade of building a house. And this is a big part of our emphasis in the high school years. If we have a child that wants to go into a field where they need specialized training, where they need a college education, then we need to be pushing them in that direction and preparing them for that. But college isn't for everyone. In fact, I would like to push this narrative a little further and say that college is one of many options. And we see a lot of opportunities for our kids in the trades, in building entrepreneur skills to start a business. Our older two sons have started a mobile car detailing business together. It's something they're working at growing. So we just see a lot of opportunities like these for our kids. In the afternoon, I read aloud to our kids. We're working through God's Double Agent, which is a story that I'm reading to my older kids, but my younger ones usually sit in for it. And this week's story was so interesting. The main character discovered that in his village, the government officials were corrupt. It was like his first realization that they were using the power company to turn it off at the time when most of the people in the village needed it. And he saw this corruption and he told a friend about it. And the friend was just really had a lackadaisical attitude, like, oh, yeah, okay, well, that's just the way it is. And he just couldn't understand why his friend didn't care more about standing up to this. And I reminded the kids of something we had learned last year when we memorized the Declaration of Independence. And my daughter spoke up right away, remembering it. She quoted it. All experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. I was so proud of her, and the kids, a light bulb went on. They all understood exactly the application of this line that we had learned last year. I love when we have moments like this. Reading good quality living books to our kids over the years has just generated so many great conversations. Speaking of living books, our 2-year-old is into this book. It's called My Truck is Stuck. I personally wouldn't label it a living book, but he is so fascinated with it. He asks me to read it to him every day, and he's just in that stage where he's into all kinds of vehicles, so that's why he loves it so much. In the next couple of weeks leading up to Christmas, we will probably plug away for the next week or two, just doing all of our normal routine. And then we'll take a good half of a week to a week before Christmas and slow down and spend some time doing some holiday things. I'll probably pick a lot of Christmas picture books to read to the kids. We're not doing a chapter book this year. We usually do. But if you'd like to see more about what Christmas schooling has looked like for us in the past, I'll leave a link to a video I did last year. It didn't get a lot of views, but it was one of my favorite videos, spending the week before Christmas just enjoying family memories and reading good books to our kids. One tradition we have every year is to read the best Christmas pageant ever. I tried going without reading this to my kids one year, and they were all so upset at me. So apparently I cannot skip that one. If you're looking for other great Christmas books to read to your kids this time of year, I have a couple of different book lists, Christmas book lists on the blog, ourlifehomeschooling.com. Thanks for watching this week. If you enjoy this content, I hope you'll like and subscribe, and better yet, share with a friend who could use this kind of homeschooling encouragement. I do one video a week on homeschooling encouragement for everyday moms. I'll see you next week.